Coming to you from Long Island Sound, where the hippest music can be found, like a buried treasure underground. Clam Radio, on the ocean floor and having fun, spinning tunes since 1961, getting absolutely nothing done. Clam Radio, airwaves, sound waves, from under the real waves. Clam Radio.
You know, you stupid fools, this is Rocky the Coco of the Fireside Theater, and for some reason or another, you've misdialed, and you're listening to WUSP 90.1 FM Stony Brook, and we all know what the Stony comes from.
Airwaves, sound waves, from under the real waves. Clam Radio, Clam Radio, Clam Radio.
Can you dig it?
Leave my nose alone, please. This is John Tabacco. This is Clam Radio, 90.1 FM, Stony Brook. And you were just listening to some whacked out music from Teddy Kumpel, Lupustra, Volume 1. And Teddy is my guest today. Teddy, how you doing? I'm
doing good. I'm surprised you let that crazy guitar there on the air, actually. It seemed kind of obscene to me.
Oh, no, I like that a lot. No, this is an obscene program. Usually we used to do it at night. Could get even more obscene, but unfortunately in the morning, well, actually in the morning you want to get a little obscene sometimes.
Well, part of our job description is to scare the children, right, John?
Yes, and that would work, too.
There you go.
Sure.
And this is a good time to scare children in the morning.
Yeah, really. Imagine if they're sneaking around in school listening to WUSB Clan Radio. I got to check it out. Teddy Kumpel's going to be on. You never know. There's somebody out there.
It's good music for 7-year-olds.
It's definitely. Are you kidding me? I would have loved this stuff at 7 years old. My folks, I don't know. My folks, they wouldn't know what I was listening to because they never really checked it out until John Lennon said the F word in one of his tunes. Then they got a little disturbed there. Anyway, that was called Differences, and that's from a new piece of music here. What would you call this? It's not really an E. It's a CD. It's just that it only has 6 tracks, but they're very long.
It's a CD.
Yeah.
It's 60 minutes long.
Yep.
It has 3 different bands on it. So you could say that each band is a set of music, sort of.
Oh, yes, definitely.
It was recorded live in the studio at Bob Stander's Parcheesi studio in Huntington.
Uh-huh.
Bob is an amazing engineer, producer, mixer, guitar player, bass player, and friend.
Yeah,
and
no question about that.
He did a great job on the CD. I love what he did.
Yeah, it sounds really good. And that featured Andy Hess on bass and Sean Pelton, and he's doing the drums, and Swamptronics. Okay, I don't know what Swamptronics is. It's some sort of percussion device, I guess. It's electronic, yes?
It's swampy electronic percussions.
Well, there you go. How'd you hook up with those guys? I mean, Sean's, doesn't he play for Saturday Night Live or something? Or?
Sean plays for everybody. He plays on Saturday Night Live. That's his main gig. He's also played for Sheryl Crow and pretty much anybody. His resume is...
It's a pretty long list.
As long as you can. You probably get sick of reading it after a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Because it just goes on forever. But
things could be
basically,
worse.
How did I hook up with Sean? We're both New York City musicians doing gigs around town, and I, of course, had heard of him probably before he heard of me. I'm a little younger than him. And I went to New Blue, a club in the East Village, and saw him play with this band called the T Jam Band.
Right.
T Jam Band.
Got it.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Chitty Jam Band.
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say.
I know what you're going to say, because the song that I was going to play if you weren't going to show up was a song called Teddy Take Me to the City, with lyrics that Susan DeVito wrote, and she uses that word in the song.
Really?
And I'm not sure if she was referring to you in the tune, but it's a kind of an up tune. It's not a negative tune or anything, but it's just funny because now you've kind of come full circle. Nobody else would know that except me, of course. And anyway, as you were saying.
So I was doing this residency at Nightingale Bar on 13th and 2nd in Manhattan, and I saw Sean play at New Blue, and I was blown away by his conviction and personality on the drums, and asked him to play with me, and he did, and then he kept doing it for a long time. It's been probably 10 years now that we've been playing together.
When you said play with me, did you mean actually go and play with you at the Rock Hall?
No, at that point I was playing at Nightingale's every Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
And doing pretty much the same thing I do at Rockwood now, except it was in the beginning stages and there was much more gear on stage. Now I'm a little smarter about how much gear to carry to a gig.
Oh, okay. But you can do just as much, right? You just kind of...
Yeah. I've whittled it down to the bare essentials, and And also, Nightingales, we could play all night, and Rockwood only get one set because there's 5 bands a night there.
Yeah, absolutely. But I've seen your name pop up there. You're like, residency there.
What do you mean, at Rockwood?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I've been playing at Rockwood for, about 8 years now?
Mm-hmm.
7 years? 7 years.
Did you find that you were able to, because you're always going there, that you were able to get, get more gigs from that, or you get to produce more people, or was it a smart business move to just keep playing at the same place?
It just is what it is. I don't know if it's smart or stupid, but it's they were kind enough to let me play there every week at midnight on a Monday, which would seem like, to the average person, wow, that's a terrible time to play. I wouldn't want to play then.
I would think that.
But guess
really.
what? It's pretty much always packed.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole rest of the night is filled with really super great music. Jim Campolongo plays at 10.
Uh-huh.
Tony Scher used to play at 9. They always have somebody really cool at 11. Ryan Scott's been playing at 11 for a little while. He's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like guitar night in the Lower East Side,
yeah.
I would call it. Yeah.
Do they serve food there?
They do not serve food there.
Okay. I forgot. Because I was saying you played there so long, they'd name a sandwich after you at this point.
They named a drink after me, actually.
No, really?
They did. Well, they had a...
Is it really the Teddy Kumpel? No.
It's just called the Kumpel.
Well, that's close, because Susan's always thinking that. It's got to be a drink.
She told me that, yeah.
What's up with
but
that?
she said it should be a warm bedtime drink. And it should be called the Teddy Kumpel. But
that is a nice sound.
But so Ann Courtney, the lead singer in Motherfeather, who's also the bartender at Rockwood One, named the drink that I always drink, the Kumpel, and it's not a very exciting drink. It's basically it's seltzer and lime. So if somebody orders a Kumpel, you're going to get a pretty boring drink.
Wow.
But if you want a dirty Kumpel, that's pretty exciting. They add orange juice.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Sounds almost like something Keith Richards would drink, except there'd be some extra alcohol in there at one point somewhere.
That's very delicious.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Well, let me tell you, folks, I'm talking to Teddy Kumpel. He's a fantastic guitar player. He's a great producer. He's currently, I guess we could say, you're working with Joe Jackson? Yes?
I am Joe Jackson's guitar player right now,
Wow.
Luckily for me.
And we're going to find out a little bit more about how he got that gig and what it's like. I just want to tell you, before we heard differences, before that we heard Pomp for Irreguloso the Clown and his 47 Narcoleptic Puppies, which is a piece I did in 1995, and I got Teddy to come down and play some guitar. I asked him, could you do like a guitar solo that's sort of like a clown that's kind of drunk, like on a tightrope? And that's exactly what he did.
Wait, that was me?
Yeah, he played on that.
That sounded like somebody else.
No, that was you, man.
I don't believe that was me.
Yeah, it was you.
You forced me to play things I don't
Yeah, it was great, though. He just came, he looked at me like, okay, yeah, all right, whatever you want to do. And then a little bit later on, a couple of years later, we got him to play kind of a very sexy little solo on a song called Can You Do It from Nigel Lennon's record, Reinventing the Wheel, Reinvented. And that came out great, too. Before that, we heard from Robert Palmer. Yes, Sneaking Sally Through the Alley, which is a Alan Toussaint tune, and Alan just passed away the other day. And he's a great songwriter. I'm sure there'll be a special on his music sometime at USB. You can always expect that. And before that, we started the whole thing off with Frank Zappa from Chic Your Booty. We heard Jones Crusher and Whatever Happened to All the Fun in the World. And I want to thank all you folks for contributing to the Zappathon we had a couple of weeks ago. We did very well. Hopefully we can do it again next year. I guess on Halloween it's a good time to do Frank Zappa music. Anyway, speaking of Frank Zappa, this has nothing to do with anything. You're playing with Joe Jackson. You want to tell us a little bit about that? How's that going? How was that? How is it?
Well, first of all, you said something about Alan Toussaint.
Yeah.
And I just have to say that he produced my favorite record of all time, which is Dr. John's record, Destively Bonnaroo.
Oh, I don't know that tune.
It has the meters playing in the rhythm section.
Really?
And they're amazing on it. And it has some of my teachers, Whit Seidner, the head of the jazz department at University of Miami, played saxophone on it, which I just found out, and I'm beyond thrilled to learn that because the horns on there are so good.
Oh, I'll have to check that out. I don't know that piece. Wow.
That's a really great album. Every track on the album is good.
I'm sure it is.
Anyway, back to Joe.
Yeah. How did you hook up with Joe Jackson?
Joe Jackson.
If you want to talk about that.
No, secret. No, just kidding. My good friend Andy Ezrin, who's a keyboard player who used to play with Joe back in the mid-'90s. He did a tour with him, and he got an email from Joe saying Joe was looking for a guitar player who could sing and was good with effects. So Andy forwarded me the email, and said that I should go for it. And I thought, yeah, you're right, I should go for it. And then I read the email that Joe sent, and all the people that were CC'd on the email, and I knew like 5 of them out of 10. So I emailed them, and I said to them, hey, could you guys recommend me for this gig? Because I'd love to do it. And they all wrote really nice things. Joe called me up a couple days later and said, well, I guess I've got to audition you. All my friends like you.
Oh, well, that's nice enough. That's cool that they actually said that thing. Well, I mean, it's obvious, it's like, you do sing really well and you play the guitar well and you know how to do effects and stuff. So it's kind of a logical choice. What was the audition like? What was it like? Did you have to learn his tunes or anything?
Well, after the first conversation that I just told you about, we had about a 2-month break, and anybody I know who's a professional musician would kind of think maybe I should learn all Joe's songs.
Well, that's a lot.
I didn't think that.
Right.
I thought, well, I'll either get it or I won't.
Right. Okay.
He's either going to like me or I won't, and then if he likes me, I'll learn the songs. Mm-hmm. So about a week before the audition, he sent me 5 new songs from his new album that nobody has ever heard at that time. This is back in June. And I was blown away by them. I just thought that they were some of the best stuff I ever heard, really. Mm-hmm. Super creative, great lyrics, mature, just a mature artist who's come into his own.
Oh, clearly at this point, sure, absolutely.
He's just so great. So I really put a lot of effort into learning the songs, and when I went to the audition, we hung out for 3 hours at his house in Soho, just me and him. I brought my whole rig, which is pretty extensive for the listeners. I have tons of pedals on a pretty large pedal board. Mm-hmm. The best part about guitar pedals, just to give you my philosophy on guitar pedals, is they all have an on and off switch.
Yes. That's a good philosophy.
So I really use them for variety instead of massive amounts of sound.
Right.
It's more about that. So anyway, went to his apartment in Soho and played the songs with him. He kept telling me to turn up.
Oh, okay, that's good.
And I said to him, well, Joe, it sounds like maybe I'll just turn the amp towards you. And we kept trying to figure it out. Turn up, no. Okay. Finally, we got to how he liked it, but I said to him, Joe, if you're asking me to turn up, that's probably a good sign. I hope, that really. I respect the sound of the piano, and I'm playing to that. So I'm playing as a support element to the piano. Mm-hmm. And he was like, oh, yeah. All right, good point.
Yes, that would make sense, sure.
And then he looked at my gear, and he said, what's all this, then? He pointed at it. And I played him about 20 different unique guitar sounds that I do, and he liked them. He said, well, that all sounds all right. And then we played some jazz. Mm-hmm. We just kind of hung out and talked. Yeah, I was there for quite a while.
So he just got a feel for you as a person, really. That was most important, that he could get along. And
he wanted to know that I'm not going to freak out on the bus. I guess he's had problems with that in the past. He wanted to know that I was going to be supportive, and
that makes sense. He didn't throw music out. It's not like a Zappo audition where you had to read everything and people were standing in line or anything.
No, in fact, he didn't have any charts for me to read. I had to write all my own stuff.
Well, that's cool, and you really get to have your personality on those tracks.
Well, I think that's what he was looking for, is somebody who can do the job, which is being nice most of the time, and supportive of the music and playing the parts that he wants them to play, but also playing them with some kind of cojones.
Right, exactly. So you didn't play on his new record, though? You're playing on the...
No, on the record happened way before I got involved. Okay. Bill Frisell plays on the new record.
Ah, well, he's good.
So I was playing some Bill Frisell parts. But he also wanted me to play some violin parts and horn parts and all kinds of different stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'm covering, because it's only a quartet, so I'm covering a lot of different aspects of the music on guitar.
So initially, obviously, we've kind of the same age. We grew up. We heard Joe Jackson as we were younger. So what was it like to meet him? Were you a little nervous? You've played with everybody, so what? You're like, who cares, whatever. Or was it like, wow, that's Joe Jackson? Well, if he starts playing, one of his early tunes, that's going to be freaky.
I think all those things are true. I'm not like a fanboy or anything,
right? So, that's what I'm saying.
Because I have been around stars, but it is, when you're doing it and you know how to do it. I've done it a lot, so I'm giving him what he needs, and And then, yeah, at some point you look up and you go, wow, I am playing with Joe Jackson right now. That's pretty cool. All right, back to work.
Yeah. And he said, like, right away that day, yeah, I want you in, or did you have to wait?
No. I said, when I was leaving, I said, Joe, I'd love to do this if you want me. And he said, all right, well, I'm going to explore my options and get back to you. And a couple days later, he wrote me an email and he said, thanks for not making me audition somebody else. So I was the only person he auditioned.
Well, he was a smart guy for doing that. That's.
I think he
fun.
just doesn't like auditioning people.
It could be a little crazy. Sure, I can understand that.
It worked out well.
But, you know, you're so creative and stuff and so friendly that I can't imagine, like, someone saying, nah, he's not the kind of guy. I mean, you know, you're very flexible that way. You have a good musical mind. So I think that's great.
Thanks, John.
I'm very, 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 very happy for you in that respect. Are you guys going to be going, you're taking a break right now, right? Or
Joe's in Belgium or Holland or something doing this thing called the Proms, where he gets to sing 4 songs with an orchestra on a bunch of dates.
That's right.
We just finished our 5-week U.S. tour. Went all over the country and sold out everywhere.
Fantastic.
Theaters.
How was that? Does it?
It was incredible.
You guys took a plane, or you did it on a bus? Or
Tour bus.
Tour bus.
Sleeping on the bus after the gig. It's great. I love it.
How many people in the group?
4 people in the group and 3 crew and a tour manager and a bus driver and a merch guy. All super friendly, great experience. I think everybody involved when it was over was like, can we do a little bit more right now, please?
It was that much fun? That's
it was
great.
just so fun.
That's great. And how was Joe's attitude? Did he was like, you know, is he tired of doing it, or he just having fun, or?
No, I think he was especially inspired on this tour because I think we gave him what he needed, and he doesn't always get that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
from
cool.
what he tells me anyway.
It's interesting. A lot of those folks from the 70s and the 80s, they still have, if they've had some hits, they still have a place to play, and I think that's great. You know, they haven't, like, you know, that's it, see you later. You know, so he still has an audience out there. That's great. And plus, with new people like you keep it fresh, so you can keep it more contemporary. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, me and the drummer Doug Yole. Sorry, Doug. I always say Yowl, but that's not his name. His name is Yole.
Mm-hmm. Yole.
Yo, Doug, what's up? Me and Doug brought a lot of enthusiasm to the project. We were just so psyched to be there, and
I bet.
Really wanted to do a good job for Joe. And Graham Maybe, the bass player, was there, who's a legend. He's Joe's original bass player. Super amazing rock bass player.
That's interesting. I had a few people who've played with Joe Jackson, so it's kind of like a little circle of stuff. Friend Todd Reynolds played some violin for Joe.
Oh, yeah. He did that tour with Todd Rundgren.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Vinny Zumo. You know Vinny?
Sure, I know Vinny.
I had Vinny play on a few things, so that's good. I mean, Joe's, you know, he's open to using, you know, apparently I was going to say local talent, but talent that's in the city, and it's really good. That's a great gig. Good for you. Are you going to go back on tour next year or with him? Or
we do a European tour for 6 weeks in the winter, and then supposed to do some more stuff after that.
Just goes on. That's great. We'll be playing
Hopefully.
on his new record, probably. You come up with some new stuff. When you guys doing any kind of jamming or anything, where you coming up with ideas for tunes or anything, or it's just strictly these are his tunes and here's where you solo, and is it kind of open in that respect?
I wouldn't say it's open. There's places for it to be open design, but Joe is very specific. He knows exactly what he wants, like the song says.
Yeah.
So he pretty much knows what he wants. He doesn't necessarily know what he wants the sound to be always. So there's a lot of creativity involved on my part in getting the sounds to be interesting.
Right.
And that everybody liked it, me and him especially.
Right.
But then there's solos that I get to play as long as I want, and there's
that's fun.
A lot of melodies that I play in the show, and there's a lot of theatrics that go on that are really fun to do. He's kind of a master of putting the show together, if you ask me.
Oh, that's great. I haven't seen the show yet, so I'm assuming you're going to be playing New York eventually again.
Hopefully. We played Town Hall 2 nights in a row, and it was sold out, so I think they'd be silly not to book another one.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Sure. Did you guys play any of his earlier hits or any of that, or is it just all from the new record? Or
first of all, for the rehearsals, we had to learn 45 songs.
Okay, that's quite a lot.
It was plenty. More than that would have been difficult.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we ended up, I don't know how many we ended up actually playing, but not all of them. He likes to try things and see how they feel.
Yeah.
And then the show was, I would say, a third new songs and a third really old songs, and then a third like mixed bag, like some covers, some some songs from albums, obscure songs that nobody he thinks are lost in the sauce that he likes.
Yeah.
From albums.
That's pretty good.
From the middle of his career.
Yeah, it's got a good variety of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm familiar with some stuff like Soul Kiss and Right and Wrong and a bunch of tunes that he did back in the 80s and stuff. And he did interesting covers. He covered some Steely Dan songs and stuff. So he does all kinds of stuff. Plus he did like all that orchestra stuff, I think, for the movie Tucker.
Mm-hmm.
So, you got a wide variety of stuff to play with there. That's very, very cool.
And his book.
I don't know. What's his book?
His book, A Cure for Gravity.
I don't know that book.
Brilliant.
Is it?
Every musician should read that.
A Cure for Gravity. I like that. That's great. And what about your book? You writing a book? You probably could. You've played so many sessions.
I don't think I'm much of a writer, but who knows? Maybe one day.
Maybe one day, sure.
I think my mom's writing a book about her life.
Oh, is she doing that? That's great.
No, not really.
I know she's got a lot of things to talk about.
She sure does.
I see her. She definitely has a lot of things to talk about. She gets pretty deep into the philosophy of life. I noticed on this new CD, some of the lyrical content on here has to do with your observation of certain people and their psychosis. Is that something that you like to just study about people, or you feel very comfortable about writing that kind of lyric? You talk about the postal worker, and there's another one that you're talking about. Your psychoanalysis says you're not good for me, or something like that. Or,
oh, my therapist says you're pretty much out to get me.
Yeah,
that's the first song.
Are these like based on anything that's true, or you?
Yeah, of course. The first, that first song. Keep pretending. You're talking about.
Yes, that's what I'm
keep
saying,
pretending. I want to keep pretending we're in love, even though my therapist says you're pretty much out to get me. That's the basic idea of the song.
That's pretty heavy there. That's very specific.
Yeah, that's about a past relationship that, of course, wasn't good and doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
But it was really intense, so I had to write a song about it. And then the song we just heard, Differences, is that's kind of an interesting song to me. I don't think I ever wrote a song like that. I had a guy who kept telling me, hey, man, why don't you play more like this? Why don't you do this? And everything he was telling me was to be more like him.
Oh, well, that's
I kept thinking to myself, like, what's wrong with you, man? Don't you understand that people are different? You're so neurotic and narcissistic that you think everybody's supposed to sound like you on guitar?
Right.
So I wrote a song about the differences in people. Right. And how we should appreciate them. Well,
these are observational tunes about human nature, apparently. So, and also notice you did Postal Worker. That's been floating around for a while. You wrote that with Merle Matthews.
That's the second recording of it. The first one was on a Canadian recording I did in the late '90s that never came out.
Ah, there you go. Yeah, because I've seen you play it on stage. Play it live a couple of times. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I've been messing with that song for a long time, and.
Yeah, you keep doing different variations on it, I think, different ways of approaching it, that's a sign of a good song, that you can actually sit around and mess around with it and still keep the content there, but change around the landscape. It's very, very cool.
That's sort of how the Lupus just started. The Lupus just started because I wanted to have a groove band, and I wanted to get another guitar player who we could trade off just playing rhythm.
Right.
And the way I wanted to do it was to have the rhythm playing be very in the pocket and very sort of James Brown oriented, where it doesn't stray too far from what it's doing.
Right.
But I couldn't find a guitar player who would just do that.
Yeah.
I could do it, of course.
Yeah, you're excellent rhythm player.
It's not that I'm excellent. It's just that the mindset was that I want that band to be that way. So I would have the intention to do that kind of guitar playing. Mm-hmm. But every time I tried to get somebody else to do it with me, they would sort of just start noodling over the whole thing. So
robots don't care.
Didn't work out.
Click it and it just keeps playing the loop. And
then right at the right time, Boss came out with a looper that worked for me. I started using it and had the results I wanted, pretty much.
How many loops can you get going at the same time?
Unlimited.
Well, I mean, you have different devices for different loop sounds, or
no? I just have one looper, and I feed music into it and loop it.
Oh, okay.
But you can have unlimited layers.
How do you adjust the levels of it as you're playing? I mean, do you have a thing with your foot or something? I
have a volume pedal.
Yeah. Just curious, because usually volume pedal, I mean, trying to think like, that's a second loop, I better lower that a little bit,
Yeah, you can mix them afterwards too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you
But now I use the Pigtronics Infinity Looper, which is the best looper I've ever used. Mm-hmm. Pigtronics is right here in Port Jeff.
Right here in Port Jeff. Yeah, I met the guy that the head of the place. He was using that at the little country store is playing.
David Coltai. He's a legend.
So, do you want to play something else from this record, or what would you like to do? What would you like to hear?
Why don't you play a Joe song?
Okay. Want to tell us anything about the song?
Play A Little Smile. So this song is Joe's single that they're playing on the radio. It's called A Little Smile. And there's a violin part on it that I had to play in the live show.
Not on the violin, though.
Not on the violin.
No, because you play banjo, too, I know. So.
Well, I play fake banjo. I mean, I like it, but it's a 6-string banjo.
Oh, okay. That's especially made?
Some people call it cheater's banjo.
Mm-hmm. Oh, because is it tuned like a guitar?
It's tuned like a guitar. Has 6 strings.
That would be cheating.
And it's a banjo. Well,
who cares?
It's not a 5-string banjo. It's a 6-string banjo. It has its own sound because it's lower than a 5-string banjo.
Yeah.
And it has more cojones.
Yeah. What was it? What's an instrument that you've played that's ridiculous? Like Bob Standard's got like this guitar. It looks like it's got 8 or 9. It's a bass guitar with like 8 or 9 strings.
Oh, yeah.
Have you played anything that's ridiculous, or I mean,
I have enough trouble playing normal guitar. I can't get into that stuff.
Yeah, on that note, here's something from Joe Jackson. It's called Little Smile. And we'll be back. We're talking to Teddy Kumpel here on WUSB 90.1 FM, Stony Brook, Clam Radio.
Clam Radio.
All right, here on USB 90.1 FM, Stony Brook. That is a new tune from Joe Jackson's latest collection of music called Fast Forward. That was A Little Smile. And I've been talking to Teddy Kumpel, fantastic guitar player and great musician. Super musician. He's got really great ears. You can see. Look at his ears. Look at this. Can you see his ears? Great ears.
It's radio, John.
I know. That's the whole great thing. That's what I'm saying. You use your imagination. He's got great ears, girls.
Actually, I have pretty small ears for my size, don't I?
No, they're normal. They're
really?
normal.
All right.
Normal ears. Yeah. So anyway, you're playing with Joe Jackson, and you had to play the violin part, but you played it on the guitar. Did you try to mimic the violin part, or did you just sort of play it? I mean, did you try to make it sound like a violin?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, it's a guitar, so it's going to sound like a guitar. But I did
you use an effect for that, or
I did try to get a very sustained sound to get it nice and smooth. And
you compressed it a little bit. Would it be
make it sound violinish?
Violinish, exactly.
I actually used a Pigtronics Philosopher's Rock to get the sound for that.
Pigtronics, yes, that's good. We're not promoting Pigtronics, but we can because it's very good equipment. You want to go out and check it out, probably at Guitar Center or something. I don't know.
I just love them. They make Super amps too over there, which are just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I love them. I use those too.
That's a good endorsement for them. Teddy likes your stuff. It's great. He's a phenomenal guitar player. I will not put my name behind anything I don't like. Yep. I don't blame you. He's got integrity, folks. I like the fact that if you don't like it, then why should you want to plug it? You're smart by doing that, I think, personally. I think it's good. Keep the integrity up and pass it along to the younger generations. I'm working on getting a Vornado endorsement. I don't know the company that makes fans. Like what fans that like you and stuff? You mean no fans like that blow air on you? Oh, okay. Well, like I said, fans that like you. I would love to get a Vornado endorsement because I use those. I love them. I think they're the best kind of fans you can get. Okay. And I also would love to get a Johnson & Johnson endorsement for their baby powder. Now that would be good. Sure. You use that on your hands? Yeah. You do? Yeah. When you're playing guitar? Yeah. Yeah. So this way you don't get any squeaky noises. What just nice and slippery. Really, that really works, huh? It does. That's interesting. Okay, I didn't know. Usually, when people play acoustic guitar, if it makes a lot of noise, they're like, "Give me some powder," It's like, that is sort of annoying when you're playing acoustic guitar and you hear like a. Yeah. Well, what do you do with that? Yeah. Not use the powder. Get some. Decide gloves. It's part of the instrument, or you get some baby powder. Yeah, I would just get a Johnson & Johnson endorsement. I think that's really unique, man. That's a great angle for them. I don't think they've ever used a guitar player. I'm telling you, man. Well, anybody listening out there, to give us a call, 632-6901 if you want to have Teddy endorse baby powder or anything. He'll endorse things that he likes, which I think is very important, that he uses. It's just really funny. Could you endorse my life? You like me, don't you? That's funny. So how did you start in this crazy world of music? I mean, a lot of people I know, when I met you was back in the early 90s, most people have pretty much dropped out. They didn't really want to dedicate their life to do music, and I guess I can understand that maybe from a financial point of view. But I mean, I guess if it's in you, then you're just going to do it. Nobody can dissuade you. That's just something you do. And was that the case with you? Did you have a calling for music? Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, so I'm going to do this. I had a nice meeting with my parents when I was 13. I told them, "Mom, Dad,
I'm going to be a professional guitar player. I just want you to know ahead of time. Which, in retrospect, was a huge mistake because they just freaked out and they didn't know what to do with that information.
But your mom's a musician, so she couldn't have been too freaked, was she?
She freaked out in her own way.
Ah.
My father really freaked out. He just ran in the other room. I'm not supporting the arts.
Wow.
Which, turned out to be... It's better that he didn't. Let's put it that
I
way.
know what you're saying, sure. Yeah, I guess a dad in that time period would say that. My dad said the same sort of thing. He never really stopped me from doing stuff, but he figured it was a phase.
Right.
And I'm like, no, it's a calling, man. I heard it. Somebody says, this is what you're going to do. You're going to be in music.
Right, exactly.
Not much I could do about that, so...
I think if I wasn't a musician, I'd work in a hat shop like the guy in Spinal Tap.
Yeah, right.
I like hats.
Hats are good. Yeah, I'm getting more used to them as I start losing my hair more and more. So yeah, hats are very useful. I like that. He's wearing a hat right now, as a matter of fact. What would you call that? That's a specific type. I can't think of the name of it.
It's a floppy hat.
Yeah, it works.
It's a floppy 8-panel.
It works. It's sort of like your. I've seen you wear it before, so it's almost like a trademark. Do you wear that when you tour with Joe or anything? Or?
I do.
Yeah. Why not? Don't people recognize? Oh, it's that guy with the cap. He's great, man. He plays a great hat.
You know how many people have come up to me and said, "You got to look sharp."
Oh, you got to look sharp, right?
It's like the
Joe
most.
Jackson. Well, they spent a lot. They spent many years waiting for that particular moment to just say that.
Yeah,
exactly. Oh my God. Yeah, how many people know what the heck we're talking about? I don't know. Maybe a few.
Joe's first record, Look Sharp.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying...
A pair of white shoes on it.
Yeah, it's classic. It's just classic. It's so funny, though. I remember seeing him on MTV, and then here you are playing with him. It's just... who guessed, like in the big circle of things, the big arc of things, whatever, at that time that you'd meet that little dot and his dot, and they would meet together, and there you go. I think it's really cool, yeah. So, do you have any plans for your own music? What have you been doing that? You been doing anything?
Well, I just released this album.
Right.
Lupustra, Volume 1. And there will be Volume 2 and 3 and 4. And
already recorded?
Not already recorded. There will be more volumes. Mm-hmm. You can get it on cdbaby.com or iTunes or a host of other places, Amazon, Google Play, whatever.
Right.
And, I'm just going to keep going and talking about it until people like it.
Right. Now,
people seem to like it already, so I don't really have to do anything.
I think that's a great thing. But I'm just curious, when you do a lot of these tunes, do you go in there with a completely, an idea that's totally complete? Or it seems like a lot of improvisation here. So do you kind of mold it from what you come up with? Because what if you come up with a loop you don't like? You got to try to do it again, I guess, right? So... how did this work? Did they learn these tunes and then you just improvised over them? Or?
Well, those guys have all played with me a lot.
Okay, so
you got Sean and Andy. They play together a lot, and they played with me. They've probably done 30 gigs with me.
Oh, okay.
You got Tony Scher on bass and Josh Dion on the second rhythm section, and they played a lot together, and they played a lot with me. And then the last one, Clark Gayton on sousaphone and Tony Mason on drums. Mm-hmm. They're like... A rhythm section together on a lot of things. So it's just it's a community thing. It's a coming together of community, and I guess to answer your question, we basically improvise what's going on, but I know what I'm going to sing.
Right.
It's based around a song.
Oh, okay. So it's based around something.
So there's a song there.
Preconceived idea somewhere along the lines. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I wasn't sure because if you go onto YouTube, there's like a lot of things that you guys are doing. A lot of improvisational kind of things, and I was wondering if you just get inspired by that and go, that was a good idea, I'm going to write a tune about that now. Does that ever come up with what you're doing? Or is it, you come in, I have these tunes, now we're just going to play them and we'll see how it develops?
Usually the way a new tune comes about is I will write a bunch of lyrics, and I won't have an idea of what the song is, except for the lyrics, and then I'll bring the lyrics to the gig and start a groove and start singing.
So you write lyrics first. Interesting, a lot of times.
Yeah, I don't try to make a song before I take it to the gig. I just take some lyrics to the gig and start spitting them out into the mic and see what happens. And usually the first or second time of doing that becomes the song. So that melody sticks after a couple of times.
Yeah. Yeah, I was wondering about that because some of the lyrics in some of the songs here, there's a lot of them are like kind of like catchphrases kind of things. They're not... like it's repetitive concept of lyric, not just like a standard storyline. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you get something that seems to work good with a groove, and then you just kind of bounce off that idea with the guys.
Mm-hmm.
And do you ever have a problem with people not playing enough or playing too much? Or it's usually you guys communicate well enough where you kind of know how crazy you can get?
Well, with that gig, I'm coming from the Jackson Pollock school of thought, where you just throw stuff against the wall and see if it sticks.
See if it sticks, yeah. Right.
And basically, I've learned on that gig over many years to just make something happen and don't judge it. Just play something, and that's it.
Yeah.
You played it. Now it's there.
Right.
It's looping. Now play something else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, play something else that works with that. Sing something over it. The guys are going to know what to do. And it becomes, somehow, magically, it turns into music that people actually like.
Yeah. Well, but you give the musicians a good chance to express themselves. It's not completely rigid.
Well, it's beyond that, John. It's that's all there is.
Right.
There is no preconceived anything, and there's no job for them. There's no rehearsal. There's no, like, hey, learn this song for me. It's only personality. So their job is come to the gig and bring your personality.
Sounds fair
and if they don't have one, they're going to suffer. They're going to fall right on their face.
There you go.
It's happened.
It's happened, yeah. That's funny. Have you've gotten to the point where you just sort of like said, well, okay, that just didn't work, and you just sort of, what do you do in that situation? It's kind of awkward, isn't it? I mean,
no, it's not for me. It's fine. We tried.
We tried. It just didn't work. I don't know. That's funny. So on this new CD, is there a CD release party, or is anybody going to be able to know where they can get the disc in terms of you playing live?
Well, I'll be playing it at Treme tonight in Islip.
Okay. Where exactly? Islip?
Treme. It's on Main Street, I think, in Islip. Is that right?
I don't know.
I should know that because I have to go there.
Treme.
Yeah, it's a really cool jazz club. You guys got to support this place because they really have the right idea. They're trying to book cool, creative stuff, and it's a really nice room. Mm-hmm. It sounds really good, and they have excellent food. It's like New Orleans-based food.
Oh, cool!
They kind of have like a little bluesy kind of thing going on, but they'll do any kind of music, sort of like Rockwood in a way. Mm-hmm. But they give you a whole night to play, and
they encourage you. Obviously,
I think that's pretty rare in Long Island, right? To find something like that where somebody's really into the music, actually.
Yeah, it is very rare,
and they don't have TVs on in sports bar.
Oh, Confusion. That's good. I even like that better. Yeah,
you like the sports bar Confusion where they have a band and sports?
Well, when we used to play, a long time ago, we used to play, and had the coffee machine would go on, and we'd have to, like, coffee machine solo. It was just annoying. Like, no one's, people are sort of listening, but they're not, who cares? You're just there to kind of make some noise, whatever. And I just can't stand it with the TVs and stuff going, like, what, listen to the group. These people are making music now. This is happening.
Yeah, live music, folks.
So, well, hopefully you find an audience for that kind of stuff, and those are the people you want to be at the place. That's great. So you'll be selling a bunch of these discs here, I assume, yes?
Tonight at the show, half-price discs.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah. What else can I tell you? Oh, yeah, Monday I'll be playing at Rockwood with Tony Mason and Clark Gayton. Tonight at Treme, by the way, we will have Tony Scher. Oh, the amazing Tony Scher on bass, who plays bass with Bill Frisell. Mm-hmm. And he plays guitar in his own band. He's an amazing slide. He's like Hendrix with a slide. He's just the best slide guitar player I've ever heard.
That's saying quite a lot.
And Josh Dion on drums, who is a force to be reckoned with. He plays drums with Soulgrass, Bill Evans Soulgrass. Uh-huh. And he also plays with Jim Campolongo. Mm-hmm. I
worked with Josh. He played on a tune I'm working on with Bob Stander. And he was a very nice guy, and he was very respectful. And I said, at the end of the tune, you could go a little nuts. I don't mind. I like great musicians. I like to, have some fun. And he was a little bit like, yeah, but this is a song. I don't know. And I said, no, don't worry about it. Just go nuts. And, and he played some most amazing stuff at the end of the tune.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't know how. And it's so funny. I think he had like his iPhone, and he put his iPhone like on the snare drum. He just put it on there just to get like a certain sound. And for some reason, it didn't pop up. And he's hitting the thing. I'm like, that thing's going to fall any second. It didn't. That's how he got that sound. He put his iPhone on the thing. It was great.
Man, that's like what they used to do in Memphis with their, like Al Jackson used to put his wallet on the snare.
Well, yeah, sure, your wallet.
Wallet, iPhone, whatever.
Whatever, he gives it that kind of...
Whatever gets the sound.
Whatever gets that sound, yeah. He's great player.
I love Josh. So, he sings really well. Have you ever heard him sing?
I haven't heard him sing, though.
Paris Monster is his band. He has a duo. It's called Paris Monster. They have a great record out. There's a bass player in it. I forgot his name. Sorry, guy. I love your bass playing, but I forget your name. And Josh plays like keyboards and drums and sings at the same time.
Oh, okay.
And it's completely amazing.
That's not easy to do, unless he has some He's got some pedals, of course, to play the kick drum, of course.
He's kind of a
multitasking
whole
musician.
Other thing, Josh.
I have to check that out. I haven't had a chance to, because we play that stuff here on Clam Radio, and that's why I have Teddy here, so he can announce this stuff. And then I can go and actually now I can type to people and say, hey, Teddy endorsed you. You want to come on the radio? And they say, well, yeah, but it's way too early, and I live in, Wyoming, so I don't know if I can make it that day. But, maybe we could do a phone thing. And sometimes I can get the phone to work. Sometimes I can. Who knows? Whatever.
I had to get up at 6 to be here.
Yeah, but did you come from Brooklyn? Or?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. That's great.
Well,
I know we gave you fair warning a couple of weeks ago.
I wanted to do it.
Nice. That's great.
It's always fun talking to you.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I like to listen to some more music. Can we play something else, or what do you want to do? You want to talk a bit? You said you wanted to talk about a little bit about some of the musicians that are local that you've either worked with or have influenced you. Is that what you were talking about?
I was thinking about when I grew up in Port Jefferson, how it was in school, because we had such a good school music program.
The Rock and Robin school music, right?
Was that what it was called?
No, wasn't that a song that you used to sing, Rock and Robin? I think your mom had played that for me once. It was really funny.
Right,
you
Rock and Robin.
Really well. Yeah,
we did sing Rock and Robin in probably third grade. Yeah, why not?
Why not? It's a catchy little tune. And Michael Jackson sang it really well. I think Michael Jackson sang it, yeah. So funny. Anyway,
so I had this teacher, Claire Kahn, in elementary school in Port Jefferson, Scraggy Hill Elementary. I don't know if it's still called that. I think it's called the Spears Elementary School now.
Spears.
After the principal.
Yep, after Britney.
After Britney Spears. How did she get involved in Port Jefferson? That's so wrong.
She was selling broccoli or something, and they just...
Wow.
Broccoli Spears.
Okay. Yeah, but I think one summer, my teacher, Claire Kahn, let me take home every instrument. She just was so open and so sweet, and I guess she recognized that I was really enthusiastic about music, or it was the only thing that saved me from having a terrible childhood. So she gave me, trombone, French horn, drums, all these things to take home and try, and it was really fun.
Did you have a kinship with any of those particular instruments other than the guitar?
I ended up on saxophone. I played saxophone for a long time.
Did you really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
You knew that.
I never heard you play sax.
You don't want to hear that.
No.
It sounds like game. Sounds like geese flying back from Canada.
Oh, it could be like the new Ornette Coleman or something. That's just your style. Who cares? Just loop it. It would be very cool, man. You play a little of that, loop that, and play along with that. You could definitely do it. Whatever it's going to be, I'm sure it'll be.
Sounds like a lot of physical work to me.
Yeah, well,
I'd rather imitate a saxophone with a guitar.
You sort of were doing that on the first cut that we played here. It sounded like a little bit of a baritone sax. You did like that.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of got that sound. That's very cool. Is that a preset or you
I'm sure that saxophone influences my guitar playing, because I played it for a really long time, and there's no way that I couldn't.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool.
Just the same way as Bill Frisell grew up playing clarinet.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You listen to Bill Frisell's playing it and think about clarinet, and it's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. He played the clarinet, and now he sounds like that.
He incorporated that style into his guitar playing, and then the clarinet's a pretty versatile instrument, so I could see you could be pretty melodic on that if you really... I used to play the clarinet myself, so it's a lot of fun. Anyway, speaking of clarinet, is there anything on here that you'd like to play, or would you like to do something else, or what would you like to do? We've got 100,000 minutes left. So.
100,000 minutes?
Well,
that's
somewhere.
A lot. Wow.
Another dimension.
I don't think I have any songs that are that long.
We're playing real slow. One sample at a time. One sample a day.
How about Pushy?
Okay, what track is that?
That is...
I like that one. That's fun.
Track number 5.
That's pretty funny.
This is going to feature Tony Mason on drums and Clark Gayton on the sousaphone.
Okay. Number 5. Here we are. And you want to tell us, this is based on someone you knew?
This is about a guy who's trying to be on my gig and is not up to snuff.
Ah, okay.
And he's just annoying.
And USB, Pushy.
You know who you are.
Teddy Kumpel. Uh-oh. Pushy Pushy, brand new from Teddy Kumpel from the Lupestra Volume 1.
Lupestra.
Lupestra.
Is that hard to pronounce?
It is for me because I have a problem with double O's.
Really?
Apparently so, yes. Anyway, before we ask you about your guitar teacher, I wanted to ask you about that particular tune. all of that was recorded live, like right there in the studio, including the loops and stuff. No overdubs with loops or anything, or
No.
So you had a whole bunch of stuff going on there. You had like that stuff at the end. The loop was playing, and meanwhile you sounded like you were playing like a harmonica sound. Like
That was, I believe, I probably recorded my solo while I was playing it into some kind of loop machine and saved it for later. Like I didn't immediately loop it into the air.
Oh, okay.
So I had the volume of the loop down, and then at the end of the song, I brought it backwards and up an octave.
Yeah, it was a good effect. It almost sounded like harmonica in certain spots. Pretty cool. Pushy. That's a good one. I like that. Very catchy. Like I said, you stayed on a phrase that's just like, that's just a good hook. And it's such a wacky interpretation with the loops going on. It's kind of a groove, but there's also a lot of rhythmic things going on that are just, I don't say that, I don't believe that anything's random, but they seem like they just sort of like, you just never know. Like if you really listen to it, they come in at different beats in different spots. Are you controlling that, or is it just whatever happens to be as the loop is going on? Or
basically, my music is groove music.
Yeah, well, this is.
I guess it's groove plus.
Not all of the music.
It's groove plus.
Done. Groove plus, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, you've written songs that aren't groove.
I've written songs for this project. It's all about the groove. But,
it's all about the groove.
Yeah, those things that you're hearing come in and out, I turn them on and off while the song is going on with my foot. So I'll record something and then immediately turn it, like I'll not let the loop play through.
Oh, okay.
And I'll just turn it on when I need it. You know?
So when you play this song live, it's going to be different every single time.
That's correct.
Well, that keeps it fresh.
Usually I keep the same basic, on this song in particular, because of the way the melody is.
Yeah, it's got to be
I keep the rhythm guitar
yeah.
usually fairly similar.
Awesome.
That's
the hook of the
that
song.
That thing kind of
absolutely
has to be there.
That's cool. Well, speaking of a guitar, you wanted to talk about your guitar teacher? Was that the one that was here? Or
yeah, my guitar teacher, while I was in high school, from basically 8th grade to my senior year in high school, I studied with the same guitar teacher for 5 years. This guy, Richard Rabbitson, he teaches, his guitar studio is on top of the Country Corner over there in Setauket.
Oh, yeah, I know exactly where that is.
Corner of 25N and Gnarled Hollow. And
yep.
He basically taught me so much stuff that I placed out of all the beginning classes in college. So when I got to Miami, I went to the University of Miami for jazz studies. And when I got there, you have to take a bunch of tests to see where you're at.
Right. I remember doing that kind of thing.
I immediately was somewhere between a sophomore and a junior in theory and hearing. Rich really emphasizes ear training, at least with me he did. And I'm really lucky that I got to study with him through that whole time, because he really shaped how I think and how I play and how I behave in front of people even. He's like a big brother to me, you know?
Wow. Yeah, ear training is a very important thing. I wish I had more of that when I was in high school, because when I came out here to Stony Brook to study, the people, they would give you the test, like you said, and the only thing I did really good on really is that they'd play something and had to sing it back. I'm like, that's easy. They said, that's the hardest thing. Most people can't do that. And I'm like, that's the easiest thing. What are you
Dictation,
talking about?
yeah. That's
Dictation, though, it's like, that was a little bit more difficult.
It's harder when they sing it to you and then you have to write it down.
Yes, I was never very good at that. It took a long time to really figure out what was going on. The fact that you were able to place high, I guess you got exposed to better musicians probably when you were there, I guess. You know,
oh, well, yeah. I mean when you go from high school to a place like Miami, University of Miami, you're basically going from being a big fish in a pond to being a whatever fish, and the pond is much smaller, and there was so many good guitar players at Miami that it was hard to stand out.
Anybody in particular that's of well-known repute nowadays, or that you went to school with?
Andy Timmons was my roommate. You know Andy Timmons?
I've heard the name, yeah.
He's an amazing guitar player.
Well,
but back to Rich, he really taught me how to teach myself. That's what I really got from him. Besides him throwing things in front of me like sight singing in 8th grade.
Right.
Just saying, here, just read this random melody that has nothing to do with anything. And he just taught me how to hear and taught me every chord there is and every mode there is and every scale and every possibility, and how to play the blues and how to be humble. That didn't really work too well.
I think you're pretty humble, man. I don't know. You're a really fantastic player.
I got there eventually.
You don't brag about it.
But he really He really set me up into a good place.
Is he still around?
He's still here. He still teaches it in the same place.
Oh, wow. Well,
And he's still a brilliant teacher, as far as I know.
That's great.
I haven't studied with him since 1983.
You still use a lot of that?
I still talk to him all the time.
You use a lot of that information he gave you? You still use it?
Of course, yeah.
Do you use it in terms of when you produce and stuff, or just in general? I mean,
Sure. I mean, when you write a song, if you have every possibility open to you, you can go anywhere, right?
I heard about that,
yeah.
I don't want to learn. I don't
know if he taught me this. He might have taught me this. I don't remember. I do this thing with songwriters when they come to me, and they're like, I like my song, but it's not that great. I'm like, okay, well, let's check it out. And they play it, and I'm like, well, okay, I see what you mean. There's that one part of the song where, you're singing about something really emotional, but the chords are kind of boring, right?
Right.
And they're like, yeah, exactly. So I'm always like, okay, well, let's check that out. Let's take that apart and put it back together. And I usually end up trying almost every chord that would go with the melody note they're holding,
right,
to see which one would work in that context, and just kind of finding one that's like that one special chord that would go there to emphasize that emotion that they're trying to convey.
Mm-hmm. That works. That's very cool. Did you?
You do that all the time. I heard you do that.
I guess. I don't know. It really depends. But have you been producing anybody lately? What was the last thing you produced?
I've been more into mixing lately, but
mixing. Okay.
The last thing I produced was an instrumental rock record for this guy, Rich Henneman. He's an amazing guitar player who plays with Sarah Bareilles.
Oh, okay.
And he lives in L.A. now. He lived in New York for a while. He just moved to L.A. I'm sure he's doing great over there. He's an amazing guitar player. The guy is really, really special. So I'm really proud of that. It was really fun.
What was your role? I mean, what did you play?
Well, he says I produced it. I would say I jazz produced it. Do you know what that means?
You came up with obstacles that you had to overcome, that kind of thing, and you just
basically I said, hey, I really like your band. You guys should record something. And he said, yeah, you're right. And then we went in the studio, and I just sat there and listened to them and went, yeah, man, sounds great.
Sounds great, right? So you didn't record. I
placed the mics. I crafted the sound.
Right.
But I just crafted it to sound like they do live.
Right.
I didn't try to do anything special to make it all producey sounding.
Right. Sometimes you need that person to just kind of glue it together, because people have their doubts when they're doing stuff.
Sure.
So if you're confident about what's going on, they're like, yeah, that's probably pretty good. How'd you learn about mixing and stuff like that?
Oh, mixing? How did I learn about mixing? Another local guy, Mike Costanzo. He lives in Dix Hills. He has a studio over there. Great dude. Excellent engineer. Basically, how that happened was I came out of school in 1988 and moved to New York City. I was looking for work, and I would kind of do anything, and I ran into Mike somehow in a session.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing a guitar session for him, and he had to go out. And he left me there and said, here, just do the session for me. Just run the session. You know what to do.
That's what happens.
And I was like, no, I don't. And he's like, yeah, you do. Go ahead. You know what to do. And I did it miraculously. I pushed the right buttons, and the clients were actually happy with what I did. So
there you go.
He kept hiring me to do it over and over again, and I ended up spending a lot of time in the studio and figuring out stuff on my own, mostly. That's how we started out.
That's the best way to do it. If you can find an avenue where a person will give you that extra time to go and play around with stuff, because that's a good way to learn.
There was another guy who was really valuable to me, this guy Bruce Bose.
That sounds familiar.
He worked at Legend Studios. Which was in Central Islip. Yep. Bob Vandermark and him were partners.
I think I was there once.
It's been closed for a long time now, but Bruce was a really amazing engineer and sound sculptor. He taught me a lot of stuff. He's since passed away in a motorcycle accident, unfortunately. He was a great guy. We all really miss him.
That's too bad. Everybody's got their time, but at least he passed some music, some ideas to you, and you were able to incorporate them into your own mixing. What do you like to do in your spare time when you're not doing music? I mean,
what does that mean?
No, I'm saying when you're not. Well, say the electricity goes out. What do you do?
Play acoustic guitar.
You play acoustic. So he's always doing music. Well, some people like to ride horses and stuff and shoot squirrels and stuff. I don't know, whatever.
Shoot squirrels.
Yeah, some people like to do stuff like that. I don't know.
Fry bees.
Yes, exactly.
What do I like to do? I like to ride my bike around Brooklyn.
Do you cook or anything?
Cook? No, I'm not even allowed in my kitchen, man. My wife. She's like, "What do you want?"
Yeah, stay away from me. Stay away from the kitchen. I'll make
office.
the food. That's right. Yeah, that's funny. So you ride your bike. Well, that's not a bad thing to do. Like I said, you make a lot of observations about people, so I'm guessing that you probably just you watch people a lot. But,
I do. I like to have conversations with people, that's for sure.
Yeah, okay. Well, let me tell you, folks, we're listening to and talking to Teddy Kumpel. He's got a brand new CD out called Lupestra Volume 1. I got it right. And it features a bunch of fantastic musicians. And so you're calling this more like, what kind of music? It's kind of, some of it's hooky, but it's groovy. It's like, can we give it a label or anything, or what?
What kind of music is it?
It pushes the airwaves. I know that. So
it sure does. Well, every song is 7 minutes long.
Okay.
It's groove music, Groove Plus.
Groove Plus. There you go.
I don't know. It's jam band music. Let's call
I
it
hate
that.
to limit it to any particular thing, but
If you're going to have to tell the people what it is, it's jam band music.
okay. And where can they find it? Check it out.
cdbaby.com.
Where can they find out about you?
teddyjam.com.
teddyjam.com. And he's on Facebook,
Yes,
as a matter
indeed.
of fact, as well. Very good. So now that you've been playing with Joe Jackson, I mean, have people been treating you differently or anything? Or
Well, my hat is definitely too tight now. My attitude has gotten really bad.
yeah, I'm sure.
Um,
No, I'm just
people
saying.
treat me differently. That's a funny question.
I don't know. I was like,
No,
wow.
not really.
He's not going to talk to me anymore. He plays with Joe Jackson, and that's it.
Oh.
We'll never see Teddy
God,
ever
I hope
again.
not.
No, I know. You know,
I like my friends.
It opens
I
up a
know.
lot of doors, I would guess. You know, he knows a lot of people, Joe Jackson. So, who knows? You know.
Yeah, it can't be a bad thing, right?
No, definitely not. I was very happy to hear about it, man. I was like, you know, it's to have somebody like Joe Jackson's stature admire a great player like you makes me feel good because I already knew that you were a great player. I'm like, yeah, it's about time. Get more recognition, you know.
I'll tell you two things. Joe definitely helped me step up my wardrobe.
I see you looking sharp.
I kind of caught. Yeah, there you
I
go.
had to do it.
There you go. Jump on the bandwagon, John.
Well,
Sure.
there you go. Got it out of the way. I've waiting hundreds of years to do that joke, and there you go.
We had a lot of conversations about that, and I was a really lazy dresser before this gig, and
A lazy dresser, or you just
what a treat
style?
to get to have somebody like Joe be your stylist, right? He really
He picked out some of your
at some
clothes.
point. At some point, no, he didn't pick them out, but at some point, I dressed how I thought I should dress, and he said to me, "You look like you're going for a law firm interview. What have you done to your hair?
Oh no!
I like your hair without that stuff in it.
That's
Why don't
funny.
you wear a hat? You look great in hats."
Did you have to buy specific clothes or anything? I mean, he's got a.
I bought a couple of suits, and he just has a no all black rule.
Oh no, all black. Okay.
You're not allowed to wear all black, which a lot of New York musicians like to wear.
Mhm.
And I'm wearing right now, right?
Yes, you are actually.
Oh, well.
With the exception of a little
Sorry,
bit of white
Joe.
going on there. Well, it's radio, you know. So
I'm not on stage. I can wear what I want. I wear what I want.
You wear what you want. Yeah. That's pretty interesting.
And what was the other thing I was going to tell you?
How about fans of Joe Jackson coming up to you?
Oh yeah, well,
How's
there's
that
a lot
working
of
out for you?
fun stories about that, but mainly my favorite story about that is going to Sam Ash with Joe looking for an iPad stand.
Oh.
Wow, like could the guys at Sam Ash in Manhattan be like a little bit more subtle about how they react when a star walks in? It was so weird.
Really?
Like, calm down, guys. You've seen people before.
Yeah.
This is a person. He wants to buy something that's useful to him. Stop asking for autographs and pictures. Relax.
Oh my God. Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I like that.
Poor
idea.
Joe. That's all I can say.
Well,
He's a shy guy who just wants to keep to himself, and he can't go out of his house without like walking 2 blocks and
I
having.
know, but it's got to be kind of cool though, in a way.
No,
I
it's
mean-
not cool for him. He doesn't
No,
like
really?
it. No, he wants to just be a normal person.
Okay, well, I mean, that's part of the territory of being on TV and being famous. I mean, that's what you have to deal with. That's the whole part of the job, I guess. You know, I would always think.
That's-
I mean, he's pretty well known, but I guess if he was walking down the street, not he's not like Madonna or somebody,
Right.
or
Well, he
you know.
knows how to dress so people don't recognize him.
Yeah, so that's
but if,
cool.
But
That's
if he's in a
cool way.
place where he doesn't need sunglasses, then he's in trouble.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Right, right. So, did he get the stand that he wanted, or
Yeah,
did you use the iPad for anything, or do you
I
have-
did actually.
use it for the lyrics and stuff?
I used it for I initially just put my charts on it for the rehearsals,
Right.
and brought it to rehearsal, and then there was a time where we were told we had to memorize the songs by, and I was like, okay, so I memorized the songs by then. But then the iPad had this other purpose that it served after the songs were memorized because it just worked really well. Joe has a couple of songs, actually not a couple, a bunch of songs in the set that have to go right into each other really fast. And because of the pedal board switching that I would have to remember, like, okay, that song is number 4.5 and that song is number 2.1, and I would have to have like a list of that on a piece of paper next to the pedal board or remember it or something.
Right.
And it became sort of weirdly difficult to do that. So what I ended up doing was using the iPad as a set list generator. So I put the songs in order and I sent a Bluetooth signal with a pedal to the iPad saying next song.
Oh, that's very
And then I sent a MIDI signal from the iPad into the switcher and the pedal board. This is very complicated information for our listeners out there, but I'm sure they'll appreciate it on some level. The MIDI signal from the iPad into the switcher would just turn everything to the right sound for the song. So I had one button to push for every song.
It works.
Next song, everything's ready.
I'm sure he appreciated that. It was not rickety. Yeah. It was very smooth, the transitions is what he's saying. All right.
Blobbity, blobbity, gear, blah, 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 blah.
Blah, 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 blah. Yes. What is he talking about? Well, we're talking
MIDI,
to Teddy Kumpel.
Bluetooth,
yeah, right, you know. Just play the song, for God's sake. All right. Well, is there anything you want to play, or what would you like to talk about? We got 15 minutes left.
Can you find Joe's song to Keep On Dreaming up there?
I could find it, but I could play something in the meanwhile while I'm looking for it. Is it part of the new record?
You want to play something else off here?
Yeah, I guess, sure.
Keep Pretending, the first song?
Yeah, let's do that. I like that one a lot. Is there a reason why you chose this to be the first tune on the CD?
Probably.
It sounds like an opening. It's a good.
It kind of does. It kind of fools you into thinking the first little lick in the song kind of sounds lo-fi.
Yeah.
So it makes you think, like, when you put like even the guys, my favorite guitar shop in New York City, 30th Street Guitars, the guy who owns it, Matt, put the CD on. He said, "Sounded like there's something broken on this CD." I kind of like that about the opening. It just sounds like what's going on. It sounds like completely wrong.
That's good, but I guess I like that idea. I had mastered a piece of music this guy wrote, and part of the song in the beginning was him trying to plug something in, and he wanted that to be on the recording. And I'm like, if people turn this up, they're going to blow the speakers out, But he insisted, I got to have that. That's the whole point. We want to get people agitated. Oh, that'll work, all right. Wanted to kill him for that, but I don't know what we did. I think we just lowered the volume. Anyway, that has nothing to do with this. Is a really nice piece called Keep Pretending, brand new from Teddy Kumpel from Loop Estra Volume 1. I get to say it, getting better at it. And check it out, and then we'll tell you where you can go buy it. With an extra little chord there, just in case you were wondering. 10:59 is the end of Clam Radio. We'll be back in 2 weeks with God knows what. Teddy Kumpel has been my guest. Teddy, thank you very much for coming down. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, John. It was a lot of fun.
Teddy Kumpel's got a new CD out called Loop Estra Volume 1. You want to check it out. Where can they find the CD again?
Tonight at Treme in Islip, Main Street. We're playing a gig, and you can come see me, and I'll sell you one. Or you can go to cdbaby.com or teddyjam.com, and you'll find it in both those places. Could you give the spelling of the name, and just in case people... Which one? Your last name, or I guess... Kumpel, K-U-M-P as in Paul, E-L. There you go. And Teddy's also playing with Joe Jackson, and we're really, really proud to see that you're moving along there. It's great. I've always been an admirer of your playing, and you're welcome to come back anytime you want, play whatever you want. I'll see you next week. Okay. Well, 2 weeks from now, actually. If you want, I don't know what's going on, but you just come and bring stuff that you want to hear, and that's what we'll do, Whatever you want to hear, we'll just play it. Who cares? All right.
How did I get into this mess?